One of the biggest hallmark traits of an entrepreneur is resourcefulness. So not necessarily how many resources you have, like how much money you have or time or experience, but how resourceful are you with what you've got? And so I have an example for you to demonstrate what resourcefulness might look like. So coming out of university, my partner and I started our entrepreneurial journey, and my dad asked us one day, like, how do you guys afford to live? If business must be going great. You're traveling all around the world. You're doing all these crazy things. And I was like, no, I spend like 8 grand a year. That's everything I live on. He was like, what? How can you physically do that? And so I just broke it down, and the maths adds up. Like living with family when you're back home is very cheap, because then you don't have bills and utilities and all that to pay when you leave. And now, as an example, this is something Millie and I have just started and tried over the last couple of months. We're doing something called trusted house sitters. So we noticed when we were last in Bali with a friend of ours who was looking after a cat that we really missed ours. And there's a website where when people go on holiday and they have animals, you can look after them in their home for them. And so we've managed currently in Austin, Texas, oh gosh, from mid-August all the way until mid-October, back to back, booked solid, with accommodation, which is great because accommodation here really is like 3 grand a month. And so that drastically cuts costs. And then it doesn't feel so bad to hire a car, as an example, because now your living expenses are so much lower. This is an example of resourcefulness that is super helpful in business, because sometimes there are situations where you just have to pull money out your ass. Like a bill is due that you didn't realize, maybe bad planning, or you get sideswiped by an unfortunate circumstance, and you have to make miracles happen with whatever you've got. And there's a fantastic example of this that I remember. It was one of the first things that Alex Hormozy talked about publicly, which is how many times, who here has had like a late payment or something drastic happened to them and they've had to figure it out and pull the money out of seemingly impossible places to get something happen. And for business owners, literally everyone all the time is the answer. But most people, have to make rent, or I don't know, your car goes in for an MOT and then you end up having a serious issue that has to be fixed. And then like, oh, if you can't get that done, you can't go to work. And so you find the money to get it done. And he's like, so how often do you find the money for things when someone else needs it? Right. And now use that same skill, that same ability to find the money or find whatever you need when you need it. And that's the trick. That's why it's such a powerful trait and a requirement to be an entrepreneur and to run a business, because there are so many situations where, you could pay away the problem if you had a couple spare £1 million, but you probably don't. And so you've got to figure out how to solve it anyway. So there you go. An example and a specific thing that you might be able to take away to use: trusted house sitters. It's really awesome. I think we pay £100 a year. And one of the nicest upsides for this, the single biggest upside actually, is not the money. It's the fact that the places we're living aren't Airbnbs. So they're actually kitted out where people live and then work from home. So like there's usually a desk space or multiple desk spaces and like utensils and cutlery and plates, and the kitchen, sorry for that, and the kitchen is laid out as if someone uses it, because they do. It's actually someone's home, which is quite nice. Whereas Airbnbs, a lot of the time, neglect that stuff, or like they fill up all of the cupboards with glasses and cutlery because they don't want it to look bare, but then when you actually want to live there, there's nowhere to put your things. It's the little things. But that's really the biggest benefit, aside from the financial, of doing something like this, like a a house swap, essentially, allowing someone, you being allowed to look after someone's home for them. So there you go. If you want to travel the world, that's a really affordable way to do it. And anyone can, as long as you like animals, generally. So that's my thoughts for the day. Resourcefulness is key. So if you are not very resourceful, if you have to rely on everyone else to fix everything for you, if you can still get it done, that's resourceful. And that's the outcome that matters. But if you're the one who's typically solving things for other people, if you have a high level of agency, i.e. you happen to the world, you're likely to be a good entrepreneur too. There you go. My thoughts for the day. Peace.